Hi everyone. I think we're just a few more days away from when we're gonna have bubble tea up and running again. I know there are some stores that already are actually delivering bubble tea. Sorry, bubble tea is really live sometimes. Like I love bubble tea. Who else here loves bubble tea? I think a lot of people do. So comment below what is your favorite bubble tea flavor. Mine is, I would say, go with Earl Grey milk tea, or I do love a honey milk tea, which is simple and there's no need to add sugar. So, what's your favorite bubble tea? So, guys, we have made it through 1.5 months of circuit breaker. Yay! And we are left with 2 weeks. And then we hope everything can actually kind of resume back to normal. I hope you guys are really holding out there at home really well. I know it's hard to juggle work from home and taking care of kids, or if you don't have kids yet, basically being cooped up at home. So we hope we can get to walk the parks freely and go out slowly, normally, I think. So today's week is going to be a very, very interesting topic, which has been requested a couple of times by our followers, which is going to be about breastfeeding and baby wearing. And also, besides breastfeeding and baby wearing, we'll have a very interesting new person coming in on our live sharing later on, sharing some interesting tips about. You'll find out later on while we as the show goes on. So before we start the actual show, please help us like, share, and comment. Like and share, and make sure your post is public so that this live show can actually help other parents out there. And we hope that our breastfeeding tips will help you today, and also breastfeeding while baby wearing. So my colleague will come in soon, Perlin. I'm sure you remember her, and she has 3 kids, and all 3 kids were breastfed, so she's super experienced, I would say. There she is. Hi.
Your mirror images.
Yeah, so weird. Cannot coordinate.
Sorry, was a bit late. Where are we?
I was about to start, and I was telling them that Pauline has 3 children, and all 3 are breastfed. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Only breastfed. Okay, disclaimer first. Whether you bottle or breastfeed, it really doesn't matter. It's your own parenting choice. But today we are here to actually help to give you some tips for those who want to attempt breastfeeding or are already breastfeeding and have some struggles. If you have any questions or anything, just shoot it out to the comments below, and we try to answer it as best as possible. All right. So
yeah, this session is really about Parent Huddle is really about sharing, and please feel free to forward us any of the questions you have along the way. So today we are really talking about breastfeeding in carriers. How do you go out in public and breastfeed? I think this is one of the key points for a lot of parents when you're out, especially if you're a new parent, right? Because the first time when I had my first child, I was very worried. I didn't dare to go out. Actually, for 2 months, I was stuck at home because why breastfeeding and don't know anything. And I'm worried that even as I cover up when I go out, and mind you, 16 years ago compared to now, it's very different. All right, 16 years ago, people will be like staring. What's happening? Yeah, people are just curious and perfectly fine. But because we are parents and we live in an Asian society, right? I don't know. I was I was totally unprepared. I don't know what to do, and there are a lot of questions going through my mind. How to be discreet, and then if I'm carrying the child, then how should I breastfeed? If I'm wearing breastfeeding clothes, a lot of people tell me breastfeeding clothes are very easy. You just breastfeed. People can't see. Is it really true? Because I think being Asians, we are still a little bit more worried, a bit more scared. I'm not sure if it's an Asian thing, but in Singapore, definitely we are a lot more aware, and we are worried about flashing. Were you worried about that?
with my first child, yes. And then my second one came, I was like,
it was very real. I'm not sure if any of you are pregnant or intending to breastfeed when your new baby comes along. That's something very real that we have to grapple with. But today, 16 years later, I think breastfeeding is more the norm for newborns, and I think people are feeling more confident about going out breastfeeding. But being a first-time parent, and like I say again, in Asian society, and plus the fact that sometimes we got old folks, grandparents at home, sometimes not everybody understands what the new mom's going through. So sometimes they may say certain things, oh, what if people see, and that kind of stuff. So I mean, we are here to share more our experience, and what we find is useful for people when they go out and they want to do discreet breastfeeding. That's completely possible, alright? So you just need a little bit of confidence, and also to maybe bring along a few cookies out in the first few times, but before that, practice at home first. Make yourself feel more comfortable with yourself, and breastfeeding maybe in front of when the nanny is in front of you with your husband around, that kind of stuff. I think it definitely helps to build the confidence. So without further ado, I think we will move into how should we actually breastfeed within the carrier or sling. And yes, oh, she said we jumped the gun.
But anyway, I think she looks very nice today.
Yes, she also looks very nice. I think we look like dark colored today. Very serious. Actually, breastfeeding is it a serious stuff?
I don't think so, but I did talk to my friends in the US and the UK, where it seems to be even worse than Singapore in general. Actually, yeah, you might think that Western, and we feel that they may be more open-minded, but actually it's not like some of them got chased out of cafes actually. Because they were breastfeeding. Yeah, I guess so. But I think society has moved forward. And in case you didn't know, Singapore actually passed a law that breastfeeding in public is totally legal. So please help support your breastfeeding mothers. Okay.
Okay. So we will break the the program up into a few different parts. So we will share a little bit. For today, we will share a little bit more with you about what the clothes you should wear, what are the tools that you can actually use to actually enable discreet breastfeeding. So for me, very important was actually the breastfeeding clothes. That was many years ago. So breastfeeding clothes, we don't have any different brands. Lucky you, now a lot of different brands, and then different styles as well. So last time was very frumpy. Okay, it's always auntie and very motherly, that kind of stuff. It's double layer. So when you have double layer, means you pull out the excesses from the bottom. It's just like a t-shirt, you pull upwards, and then okay, pros and cons to each. Maybe we just quickly share with you. I think I may have a little bit more experience with breastfeeding clothes than Michelle. She kind of okay, because it's like many years after, so it's like maybe anything goes kind. So last time breastfeeding clothes were either the excess from the bottom, you pull up the whole piece, and then the other one would be the half excess, which is around here. So nobody to guide you, right? Just buy everything, so a waste of money. But maybe we just quickly share with you what's the pros and cons of each type. So basically, for the pull up ones, the double layer in front, sometimes it may be a bit warm in Singapore. So that is, in the past, it was really thick, all right? So here in Singapore, it's very, very humid. If you are breastfeeding, you normally will be perspiring more. I find it very true for myself. I don't know whether it's true for Michelle or the rest of you. But anyway, that was a bit warmer. So you might want to take note of that. And then, of course, it gives you a bit more coverage as well. Then the half excess, the one that we like. I myself personally like the most. But straight away when you go out without your kid with you, you will know that this person is breastfeeding. Okay, so a little bit embarrassing sometimes if people ask, is that a breastfeeding top? Again, I say that's more than 10 years ago. I'm not sure how people react these days. But the half excess ones make it very easy. Why do I like it? Okay, simply because it's easier to breastfeed when the baby is in a carrier or in a sling. So again, baby slings and carriers, like we carry our kids a lot. So while breastfeeding, some of us do. But later we will share with you some of the safety aspects as well. So please don't go away. Hi,
Corinne.
Hi, hi, Corinne. Hi. So basically for breastfeeding wear, these two types are the t-shirt types, and then these days we've got dresses, also half excess. Those are very easy if you are looking to breastfeed with your baby in a carrier or a sling. Those will be perfect. And then there's also the zip.
really social distancing like stands to
Yeah, trying hard to, you see. Sometimes you are like out of the screen as well, also trying very hard. All right. So basically, apart from these two access, we also have the zipper ones. Oh, I don't like also. She also don't like. But these days we see a lot of the zipper type. You might want to be a bit more aware. Zipper types may be more suitable if, let's say, okay, we are not clothes experts, not breastfeeding clothes experts. We are just sharing from our experience, all right? The zipper type, it always gets in the way of the baby's face for myself. So I find it a bit difficult to maneuver in front.
So sensitive, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it's not something that I personally like lah. Michelle don't like, but different people again is different experience. So some may like it because I think that's more functional for maybe for people who are in the office. I think
because seamless zippers are really pretty actually. Like you cannot tell it's breastfeeding, but I have to go as far as to if I was trying to breastfeed my child, I was like biting here and then trying to zip it down with the other hand because it wouldn't go if I didn't hold it. So that's why it was not. But if let's say just pumping it off is then that's great.
Yeah, I think because for those kind of chiffony kind of or whatever kind of office wear, the zippers actually look a bit better, so aesthetics wise. Okay, so these are purely about breastfeeding. That's on breastfeeding clothes. Of course, if you are intending to breastfeed, it doesn't always mean that you actually have to buy a specific breastfeeding top. Just to let you know, because in end it's really up to your lifestyle and what you choose, because we find that these days a lot of clothes that you use for maternity, the bigger one, baby doll kind, you can actually quite easily pull up for breastfeeding as well. If the nursing cover is perfectly easy to do so, and later we'll be sharing a little bit more. One of my colleagues, Charlene, will be doing her first Facebook live session with us, and she's going to share a little bit more about the breastfeeding covers and nursing covers and what kind of covers will be useful. So clothes wise, you can also, if let's say you're not going for breastfeeding top, you can go for breastfeeding friendly tops. T-shirts actually, you see my dress like that is V-neck, is quite low, right? You actually with some creativity, you can actually breastfeed quite easily lah. Just pop out.
Or stretchy tops like this.
Yeah, and then you have camisoles. Those are actually quite nice to actually wear. Camisoles and then pull down. I think you can get them very cheaply because and please get them in natural fabric materials, because in Singapore it's really very hot, like I say, and now it's even worse. Today I'm like perspiring in the office. But you can just easily pull down and then breastfeed your child from there. And if you are a bit more conscious, you can wear maybe a button shirt or something over it, and I think that will work fine. So nothing really specific you need to do with breastfeeding clothes. As to nursing bra, do you ever use one? Oh, very expensive usually for me. If I want a pretty, nice one.
Yeah, that was the problem. So
Vanity.
but the thing about the cheaper nursing bras of Autumn's is pretty okay actually. They're pretty and they're very functional. But of course, as far as support goes, it's not as great as your usual bra. Don't recommend wired ones either if you want to prevent blockages and stuff. So you could go for Autumn's nursing bras. They're pretty, plus they're comfortable.
We don't sell them.
We don't sell them.
Yeah.
So, but this also depends very much on your body size and your chest size.
Okay, for bras, I think if you are very concerned, I don't know, I mean, for myself, I prefer to get myself fitted actually. Go and try it out, which one works best. If you're going to buy it online, please make sure you just buy 1 or 2 pieces to try first. You like it, you buy some more. Otherwise, sometimes the fit is really off, and you know, while baby slings and carriers is about getting the right fit, we only do so for carriers. We can't advise you very much on the bras. But I think support is very, very important, especially you know, those times. Okay, sometimes you know, you don't support them properly. It's, I don't know. It's just a pet peeve of mine. But very importantly, I think those of us who like very nice, pretty, lacy bras. You might want to take note that when you're breastfeeding, sometimes maybe the cottony, no underwire kind might work a little bit better in terms of not adding to the discomfort of the breast during that period of time. I mean, I was really sensitive in the first few months. Michelle, what's your experience?
Same, especially when it was engorged. It gets quite painful if it's too either compressed or there's too much pressure on one side. So no wires, it was all cotton. Yeah.
Do you have to buy a special breastfeeding bra?
I used to, and then I got so tired of it because they go out of shape so quickly, even in the washing net. So after that, I turned to Fat Life bras. Again, not endorsing or anything here, but they have no wires, but they're super supportive, and it helped me kind of prop up my breast, so it's easier for me to access, especially when I'm trying to baby wear and breastfeed my kid. So after I just stopped breastfeeding in March, so that's recently only.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, interesting. I started out with special breastfeeding bras. Boy, that time was really, really expensive. Like 30 over bucks for really lousy ones that I washed like maybe 1 month and then they degrade. I was like, oh, so expensive for me to change every month, you know. So I ended up, I got old bras, so I actually took out all the wires and then I used them, because if they spoil, I'll just dump it because it's already old, right? And then the other thing is that I started buying non-breastfeeding bras because they were slightly cheaper and the support isn't any less actually. And that's why I say it's really got to try. And what happens is that instead of breastfeeding bras, okay, breastfeeding bras have the access is very different for some. So most of them come with the clasps. Okay, I don't know how many of you who are watching us use that breastfeeding and use that. Please let us know, okay? And like and share, you know, our video if you've got some breastfeeding. Okay, the clasps one, you just have to put your hand in and then unclasp, and then when I want to put it back in. Annoying when you're out in breastfeeding in public, because you want to be discreet, you want to be fast, you don't want people to be looking at you while you're just toying with whatever inside, right? So I find that really difficult for me to use. I prefer either the crossover styles or just the pull down. So I spoil a lot of my elastic anyway. So that's why I do just buy cotton ones, comfortable. If you have the budget, organic cottons are very good because they are comfortable. Buy it slightly thicker, that actually helps with the support as well. So those would be my bra tips. Do you have anything to share about bras?
Pretty much the same. You also have the other one which opens in the middle, but it's even less.
The one with the snap.
Yeah, with one snap button at the middle, but that's like super exposed.
I tried that too. No. Easiest for me is pull down, pull up. Okay, spoil never mind, throw away.
Yes,
that's why I don't talk too much about that. For vanity reasons, when you are going out restaurants and all that, maybe you have a function and then you don't want, like, you know, you have to look confident inside and outside. Okay, then maybe you want to invest in maybe 2 or 3 pieces, depending on how often you have to go for such functions. Then you invest in a couple of those to, you know, look better inside as well. But other than that, I think if you're maybe at home or to the office and back, then a general cotton bra would be good enough. Yeah. Okay, good. So what's next?
Shall we show you what is the
So anybody has any questions, like, you know, before we move on to breastfeeding, friendly carriers.
If you have any questions, even if it's like nursing, how we nurse, nursing clothes, just shoot it down here, because after this we'll be moving on to baby wearing and breastfeeding, which is a burning question some of our followers had. So before we move on to how to baby wear and breastfeed, we will actually show you a short live demo before we move on to the next segment later on. If you have any questions, please shoot it down here so that we can answer it through the live. And we will keep the live on our Facebook, so you can always go back later on. Okay. Oh, another way of you being able to have accessible breastfeeding wear is just, you know, just wear a tank top and a crop top. If you don't like a crop top because you want to, you know, hide parts of your body, just wear a whole t-shirt over your tank top. When you want to breastfeed, just lift up the t-shirt or the crop top, latch the baby, let the t-shirt go, and you're covered, actually.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
That means you wear a tank top. You can use a padded one if you don't want to wear a bra. Uniqlo sells a lot. Again, we're not sponsored or anything.
I think they should sponsor us. Can you please like and share? We have more viewers. Then we say, hey, guys.
The airism tops are super good. So, and they come with the padded cuts.
I think it's just padding.
Padding cuts. Like there's an extra like bra line inside, so it's quite supportive for the early days. So you just pull that down. Pull the t-shirt up, pull that down, let the baby latch, and then you just drop your t-shirt or your crop top that's over that tank top. And then it's pretty much quite concealed actually. And I've not been using a breastfeeding cover for the later stages of breastfeeding, of course, not in the beginning. I definitely still had to use breastfeeding cover because lots of fumbling and struggles and yeah. But after that, not so much anymore. It gets better. That's what we always say in the parenting journey, right? It gets better. Okay, so if nobody has any questions for now, you can always shoot while we are doing the live. We will answer you later on. So she's going to show you what baby wearing and breastfeeding is like. It is possible, guys.
Okay, I'm wearing a carrier, right? It can be any carrier. We always have these questions. Which carrier is good for breastfeeding? Which carrier?
Actually, a lot or most of the structured carriers you are able to breastfeed it, but okay, disclaimer first, all right. Being experienced consultants, we always tell people that you shouldn't breastfeed and baby wear at the same time, because if you understand the safety of things, when you're breastfeeding, you will have to watch your child very often. And sometimes, especially when the milk flow is not established yet, you may want to know that sometimes the letdown can be quite fast. For a newborn who's just learning how to breastfeed, they may choke. And that's why you see sometimes newborns will cough and choke when they're breastfeeding, because they can't manage the milk flow. Everyone has different milk flows. So if you don't watch your child, I mean, there's always a high chance of suffocation. So that's why we always hold the child, watch the child, and you realize that when the flow is too fast, the child always pulls away. So as for baby wearing, you always need them to be snug against your body. So when they're snug against your body, it becomes a conflict of interest. You want to allow them space to move versus being snug. So this is something that you might really want to be aware of before considering actually breastfeeding outside. So if you want to breastfeed, for a very experienced mom who already mastered breastfeeding as well as baby wearing quite well, is their second child, I think usually they are more confident as well. So you can actually do it, but bear in mind the risk that you actually have to always watch your baby and be able to position your baby such that the carrier is still comfortable, ergonomic for the child, as well as allowing them for space to pull away when the flow is a bit too fast. So for new parents, we always prefer you not to until you master these two things well. So maybe you can start when the baby is a bit older, has a little bit stronger neck control, and you are more aware and more attuned to baby's cues, then that might be a better time to start. But like Michelle has shared just now, in fact, most carriers allow you to adjust for breastfeeding, provided you know how to use. So the key is really whether you know how to use your carrier well. So something like this, just quickly to show you, because today our topic is really about nursing discreetly and so on and so forth. We are not going to show you how to breastfeed within the carriers very much, but carriers like this, you can actually adjust so that the baby can come down and be at the position to allow them for breastfeeding. And if you want to be discreet, actually, if you are not so paiseh one, or like me, more seasoned, if I ever have another child, Choi, no, okay, Choi. Anyway, like this, I may not need a cover. I will just breastfeed and be able to go out like this, because that may be my style. But if we are new and you really need to cover up, a nursing cover like this will make a lot of sense.
Okay, Charlene later on will show you how to breastfeed, but being able to see your child is very important. So one point to take note of, and check your child often if you're walking around as well. For those people who can't manage, sit down and breastfeed. Don't be so gung ho. Yeah, new parents, so many things to learn. No need to worry. Don't feel bad that you can't do it as well. It's a skill to be practiced. All right. So carrier, you can actually adjust for breastfeeding quite easily. Be sure to put the child back. That's why you need to know how to use your carrier very well. So that's for carriers. What about other types of carriers? Actually, wrap can easily be used as well, but we're not going to show you how to do so. But in our general opinion, if you intend to breastfeed and very frequently, especially for newborns, your best bet, apart from being discreet now using the nursing cover, is to actually use a ring sling that will help you to actually maintain a so-called cradle position for the child to breastfeed. Normally when you're carrying the child, they should be upright, but you can actually position the child in the cradle. I don't know, how do you breastfeed your child? Do you normally cradle them or have them upright?
Right in my arms.
Yeah, when what's most natural to you?
Cradle
Cradle.
during the younger days.
For me, same thing. In fact, for when my child is older, I also always prefer cradle. I don't exactly like to breastfeed upright because the child, when they are tall, I got to pull the belt very low and then I got backache. So I can't do that very much. I always prefer a sling. That's the most versatile for breastfeeding because you can have them upright and you can easily shift them. Especially for newborns, shift them into breastfeeding position simply because newborns tend to breastfeed quite often. Again, today we're not specifically showing how to breastfeed within a carrier or a sling, but I'll just quickly show you. You can actually allow the child to go into what we call a breastfeeding position. I'm not going to breastfeed you. It's not my child. Second thing, not appropriate. Okay, you can actually watch your child while you breastfeed with a sling quite easily. You don't have to hold the child all the time. All right, we have very good slings here, baby slings and carriers that allow you to adjust much more easier for newborn. Slings are not made all equal. Since today we are not talking about slings, you might we just share with you a tip. Different slings are quite different. So if you like an easy one, Love Radius ring sling will actually allow you to quickly slide. Woven types, it really depends. My take is always this one for newborns, and then you can put them in a breastfeeding position. Same thing, breastfeeding cover. Okay, many styles of breastfeeding covers. Later, Charlene will show you. Want to be discreet like that, whole cover leg, okay? But better to cover your breast side, more discreet a bit. I think these days is with all these tools, it's very, very easy to go around breastfeeding. If you have any questions during the show, you can always ask us. Don't be shy, okay? Like and share, okay? You can always shift the baby back into position once you are done. Okay, I hope we have already covered more or less your questions about breastfeeding and baby wearing. Do we have any questions?
Don't forget to like and share. If you have shared this Facebook Live, later on you actually stand to win a little prize. Yes, we are back with our little prize. And it's actually
the catch of the day. We promise you every week one catch of the day. Oh, it's worth $26.90.
So the price of the Facebook Live catch of the day later is actually worth $26.90, and we will send it to you by postage for free. So whoever shared this post, like and share and make it public, you actually stand a chance to win a prize, but not quite yet. We are not going to be asking the question yet. So whoever wants to win the prize later on, worth $26.90, you hang on until the live until after the nursing covers.
Yeah,
and then
ask you a
we'll play a little game, and whoever has shared before, above your name we'll see a little share icon and a name that you have shared our post as a public. And then if you answer our question correctly, the first one to win with the correct answer will get our catch of the day, which is a great prize.
Yeah,
okay?
Remember or most carriers actually are breastfeeding and friendly.
Hi, Adeline.
So the most versatile one we find is actually the ring sling, right?
Yes, the most versatile
The color looks very nice on me.
because you're wearing black.
Yeah.
Black. So, most versatile carrying method is the ring sling to breastfeed and the go. Okay, most versatile. Is that? It's like a big hint.
Okay, I can't see myself, that's why I'm stepping right in front. Thank you, Adeline.
Okay, so without further ado, we'll be moving on to
Charlene.
Charlene.
Let's welcome her.
Charlene.
It's the first time she's doing that. Hello, Charlene. Hello.
Hi, Pauline. Hi, Michelle. How are you today?
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. Okay, guys, thank you for watching. Okay, so actually, I'll be talking about nursing covers today. So, all right, nursing covers. There are actually four types of nursing covers. One is what we call the shawl. Okay, this is one big piece of cloth that you just put over your shoulder while you breastfeed. So this is okay, maybe this is meant for those moms who actually breastfeed at home or not moving around, because since it's a big piece of cloth, it actually how to say, moves around as well, so it actually slips very fast. So the other one we do have is what we call a nursing scarf. Okay, this is a versatile piece of nursing cover. So you see, it's actually one big piece of cloth, but it's actually joined together, right? So this one, it can actually function two ways. One, as a scarf first. So moms, you want to be a bit more nice, you go out, right? You don't need to bring the piece of cloth so ugly. Okay, so this one, you just put on through your neck, right? Fix it nicely, a bit, then you can actually cover, if you're wearing a bit more, how to say, you can see your cleavage now. You can cover this one, okay? So actually, to breastfeed this one is you just use it, hang it over to the shoulder that you're feeding from, all right? So it actually covers the baby. All right, sorry. All right, here. Okay. So it actually covers quite nice. But the thing with this one, you can't really see or have an eye-to-eye contact with your baby. You need to be able to keep on, okay, moving the cloth around so you can actually see what is happening underneath, okay? The other one that I'm going to show you is what we all commonly know as the poncho. It's actually 360. Okay, this is very good for moms who actually pump. Not really meant for breastfeeding directly because it's very hot. If you can see, okay, I can't even see my baby, right? I put the baby in, it's like a tent, right? So it's very difficult to monitor your child when you're breastfeeding. So this type of material also is slightly more warmer, because I think it's really meant for breast pumping. So it's actually inside the office or at home where you're inside the air-conditioned room. So this is quite warm, but it's quite good. It's just that because it covers, basically, if you're very shy, you can cover the whole thing, everything. So even your stomach can't see one, right? And the other one, I believe Perlin has actually tried it on, all right? It's actually what we call the nursing apron. This is quite good because if you actually notice, there is a slight wiring here. So it's actually protruding. So you can actually, no need to hold it. You can just see your baby. You can just peep in, peep out. Is quite good. And the second thing about this one is you actually move this around when which side you're actually breastfeeding from. So if, let's say, you're doing on the right, then you cover on the right. If you're going to feeding from the left, then you cover from the left. Okay, different nursing covers, they have different materials as well. So what I do recommend for you all to get is getting those organic cottons or muslin, which is actually very good for Singapore weather. So it is very hot outside. So if you're actually covering your baby wearing is all very warm, and then your body also warm itself. So it's not very comfortable for both you and your child. Okay, so safety wise, I would always recommend for you all to monitor your baby when you're breastfeeding, especially when inside a nursing cover, because as I believe Perlin also mentioned and Michelle that different moms have different letdowns. So at the end of the day, it's up to you, your body, on how you actually are able to get your baby to be safe when you're breastfeeding. Any questions? You can actually comment. We will try to reply.
Thank you, Charlene, for sharing with us so much on the different types of nursing covers. Actually, last time, my time, don't have a lot. I think Charlene is also a very experienced mom. She has more kids than me, for sure. Her oldest kid is like what?
18.
Yeah, so she's been a month longer than me, okay? So I'm sure when she first started all her
Okay, when I first started breastfeeding, there was no nursing cover at all. Okay, it wasn't.
Yeah, my time also don't have, but I had nursing wear. Then I went through like tons of nursing wear, and then okay, eventually I found the way around it. So today really we are sharing experience. So a lot of people today have a lot more tools. You may be very lost as to which one works for you. I think it takes a little bit of trial and error. So instead of spending all your money, we're having all these sessions during Parents Huddle. It's a way for us to support each other as parents, so one another. So please like and share this program with anybody. Every Monday we have it at 1 p.m. to help parents through their journey as well. And I think Charlene mentioned just now she don't have nursing cover. My time it was really new. There wasn't many. But I think I started out more with nursing covers. Thank you, Farhana. So I started out more with nursing wear, but as I found my way around what works best for me, actually at the end of the day, after 3 kids, the 3rd kid I really don't care. I just buy a nursing scarf more to cover myself when I'm cold and cover the child and she's cold. Then apart from that, it's really anything goes. I don't really do a lot of cover-ups. Maybe because when we get more confident, we also tend to realize that due to your confidence, you actually show very little of ourselves. So it's really what we are too conscious, right, as Asians. I don't know about Charlene, what do you think?
Conscious-wise, maybe 18 years ago I was, but when I had my 4th child, I wasn't as concerned about it. It's just that people around you are. So it's more on society dictating, being more conscious for you than you are being conscious yourself.
Yeah, that's true. And Charlene, I have a question since nobody has any questions.
Okay.
Which one is your preferred style for the nursing cover? Scarf, the 360, or the one with the rigid neckline?
I prefer the apron type actually because I got more freedom to actually see my baby. But I did also purchase the scarf one because when I do travel, inside the plane, it was easier for me to not find the piece of cloth everywhere because it's already hanging on my neck. So it was these 2 of things that I was liking most, because the rest is too slippery, the material, either that or it's too hot for me.
Yeah, and I think materials make a huge difference as well. We really prefer cotton ones in Singapore's weather. So whichever you end up with, I think more important to choose the cotton ones.
Correct.
Maybe I've never heard of
material would be the best to actually to do nursing or pumping here in Singapore because of the weather. The weather is extremely hot and it's crazy. whether it affects also how you actually are able to produce milk. Because you're hot, you're warm, you're uncomfortable, so it actually affects your milk flow and your your letdown.
Charlene, we have a question from Farhana. How do you breastfeed with twins? Any tips?
Okay, how do you breastfeed with twins? Sorry, I don't have any twins, but from what I do know with my friends, they actually use a breastfeeding pillow. And they do tandem breastfeeding, which means one would be on the left, one on the right, but both is facing outwards.
Yeah.
So the legs will be under your armpit.
Okay, you are referring to the football hole, right?
Correct. This
Farhana,
is the easiest way you can do tandem breastfeeding.
Farhana, does that answer your question? Are you talking about generally breastfeeding twins, or are you talking about breastfeeding in the public discreetly?
Okay, in the public discreetly, it's going to be very hard to learn. Okay, and then well, I don't think you're able to breastfeed in a carrier because it's too also. So definitely, Farhana, the best tip I can advise you is actually when you do tandem breastfeed, it's actually to be at home or in sitting position, because you definitely are not able to do so when you're moving around with two small kids,
Yeah, I suppose also because when you are moving around with two kids and you have to monitor them, then it might be a little bit difficult to breastfeed both, unless you are already very familiar, because like holding them in as they get heavier might be really a little bit tough. But if you're sitting down, I think maybe the something that covers more, if you want to be discreet, might be best. If not, going to maybe a breastfeeding room or something like this might be actually more comfortable for yourself.
There are a lot of nursing rooms around anyway.
Yeah.
So you are able to do it publicly. It's just that you're still inside a room covered and doing it discreetly.
But Hannah, you want to hear one more tip or not? If you go out with your husband, you just ask him carry this one. I breastfeed one, then I breastfeed the other. That would be the best thing. He has to feel involved,
Switch around the babies.
Yeah.
That's what happened when my mom had twins. I saw it for myself. It was very difficult. Breastfeeding one is already very difficult, but breastfeeding two is a whole climb of a mountain. But basically, yes, like Pauline said, get your husband involved if possible, and if he's around, ask him to carry and suit twin number 2 first while you feed twin number 1. And that's the only possible way in public. If you're alone, again, seek assistance from seek space in the nursing room. I think that is the most comfortable. Even if they cry, at least you have some private space. And as they grow bigger, they will know that they have to take turns, because they will just be able to tolerate the hunger a little bit more. But the beginning part, my mom just stayed home because she found it so difficult, and she had me on top of that. So yeah, the first few months probably home. When you go out, find nursing rooms. If you have your husband, find support from him. He's very important.
One other way is that I can think of is really to manage your sling or your wrap very well. You will have one of the twin inside a sling or a wrap, because that one you can position first. If they happen to always be hungry at the same time or scream and you're going to be alone, you always position one properly first in a sling or a wrap. Stretch wrap, most easy to adjust for that if you really want to. And then the other child, if you have them in a stroller, then you can pick the child up, and then it may not be super discreet, but if you have a nursing cover that might help, then you can actually position the number 1 first, and then the number 2 you keep holding. That's I know, it's not something that not an ideal situation, but if you really don't have a choice, that might actually be one of the ways you can work around it. So I hope that answers your question. And any questions you have for Charlene? I actually have some questions for Charlene I wanted to ask her, but I Yeah, it's quite common for me to forget things. Yeah. So material wise, we always recommend cotton base, and here at Baby Slings and Carriers, we do actually have some nursing covers and nursing scarves. But they are all from the Baby Olive brand. It's one of the first brands to come out with nursing covers, and their covers are actually quite generous. And Charlene can probably show. Charlene, do you show the sides? They have these pockets, the terry cotton,
okay.
you know.
Babywearing actually came out with one of the apron nursing covers that actually has well, it's not a pocket, but it's actually a terry cloth. Okay, so when you're actually breastfeeding, leakage happens. Okay, it does happen more often than we would like to admit. So having this terry cloth helps actually wipe down, right? Okay, so it actually helps wipe down. Also, it functions as whenever you finish breastfeeding your baby, you want to wipe down his mouth or whatever leakage on top of his face. This actually works. That you don't need to keep on finding things, rummaging your bag, okay, because it's in one piece already. And this is are all very good washable, and you just throw it in the washing machine. It actually is fine really.
So even for the rigid neckline, right, what I find out is that, okay, that's why we have a parents huddle. It's not about us sharing our experience. Please share your experience with us as well, because what I learned about the nursing covers, the rigid neckline, is that from a couple of customers, or now some of them are our friends over time, all right? They share that they've tried many different brands, and they actually like the Baby Olive brand because the rigid neckline actually doesn't break off so easily. Even when you put inside a laundry bag, put inside the machine to wash, a lot of times you find that they don't collapse. So that's perfect. Hi, Damien.
Hi, Jolene and team. Can you show how to breastfeed public using newbie parents here?
Okay, Damien, if you just join us, you may like to know that we normally prefer not to, we definitely recommend that people actually be able to manage the wrap first, as well as breastfeeding is established before you actually try that. Sure, we can show you quickly how it looks like. I won't go into full details, but I'm going to show you how we can use a wrap, position the baby for breastfeeding. There are many different ways, and for boba is actually a very soft stretch wrap, and normally we don't use a single flap. So there are a couple of different types of wraps in the market, but specific to the boba wrap, I'll show you a quick style. All right. So I've got a great boba wrap here. All right. Put it on. I hope you managed to learn how to use your wrap already. And if you are familiar with where to adjust to allow baby to slip into position. All right. Okay, for full instructions on how to wear your boba wrap, please go to our YouTube channel. We've got very good videos there. Those that we kind of go through step by step. Here we are going to just do it quickly. So I'm not going to go into details on what to take note on and so on and so forth. So once you've got the wrap on you, it's very easy to put the infant in. Okay, a lot of times baby sleeping, we don't want to take out. All right. Damien, is your question about breastfeeding in a wrap with a nursing cover or without? Actually, it's quite easy to breastfeed in here. Okay, again, for slings, they are versatile for breastfeeding simply because I can tip the child down. For wraps, normally most of us don't like to bring the baby up. But what you can do is that you realize that if with very soft and gentle stretch wraps, you can actually lower your baby. Okay. Please be sure that you already know how to use your wrap easily. You've got a flap this side. So for new parents who are not very good at it, I would recommend that you actually take off the side that you want to breastfeed and the shoulder strap, and then you'll realize that baby is already at the position. This would be an upright feeding, okay? So in a wrap, not so easy to do a cradle carry unless you have maybe, for example, a love radius wrap. Then I have a different way to teach you how to breastfeed. It's all about knowing your carrier itself and making sure that your breastfeeding is well established before you attempt something like that. So this would be a position you can assume for a newborn. And if, let's say, you already are very familiar with breastfeeding, very comfortable, and you monitor your child all the time, you can actually do it quite discreetly even without a nursing cover like this. But please be aware of what you're doing, okay? Make sure that the air is always fresh. Check your baby that they are not pressed against your breast as well. And this should allow you to breastfeed when the baby is in the wrap, all right? I hope that answers your question, Damien, all right? Does anybody have any questions for Charlene, specifically to the nursing covers and scarves? If not, very soon, we'll go into the catch of the day as well as the parents' huddle special. She's always trying to steal my baby. Ah. Hello, Yanni. Thank you for joining us. Please like and share. Right. No.
Okay, so I hope for those of you who have joined us and have paid attention during our second segment, we will be asking a question. So before I ask the question, make sure you have liked and shared our Facebook Live publicly. See it as helping other parents getting more information as well. Not just breastfeeding, because every week we'll have a new topic. So keep an eye on our Facebook feeds, okay? Follow us so that you will know what is the upcoming next week topic. All right, so have you shared?
Yeah. Not yet. Ask them to ask any questions so we can.
And also, please shoot us some questions so that we have more topics to talk about, because this is a community and parents should be there for parents, because it's a big and scary world of parenting out there. You're welcome, Damien. I will thank. You're welcome. In name of Colin. Okay, so
okay, before we go, nobody has any questions to ask.
No questions.
Then we thank you. Then thank you, Charlene.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlene.
Thank you. See
Bye,
you.
Charlene.
Bye.
See you. All right. So are we ready for the catch of the day? You stand a chance to win a prize, which is
something from France.
It's all the way from France, and
Can you see it or not?
worth 26.
It's a squeaky.
It's a squeaky toy. So cute. Look, it's so fluffy. Can you hear it? One more time. One more time.
It's a rat.
Have to eat enough lunch.
Hi, Melissa. You got a question for us?
How about breastfeeding in soft structure carriers? Actually, Pauline earlier on in the show, she did show it. So don't worry, we will, what do you call that? If this video will be shared onto our Facebook feed later on, so you can scroll back to the beginning. Yep, somewhat, 15 minutes in or so. Okay, so yes, it is possible to breastfeed in almost most of the soft structure carriers
you can adjust for breastfeeding. So all you need to do is to lower the baby. Depends on what kind of carrier. So it's very imperative that you know your carrier very well. And of course, as breastfeeding must be well established before you attempt this. But we have shown how it's done. So later on, you can actually go back to the first part of the Facebook. Hopefully it's useful for you. Remember, this is about you. It's about raising a family in Singapore together. So it always takes a village to raise a child. Please share your concern. It's free. We don't charge on anything for being on Facebook Live. Shoot your questions, and then we do our best of our ability. We try to share as much with you as possible. All right. Pardon us if we don't do a good job, but anyway, we're just sharing experiences, like I said. So if we've got no more questions,
thank you for joining us.
And see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.